Alright, so I'm back and today I've got the stressful job of putting all the electrics in the van. As you can see here, I've got a 120 amp AGM leisure battery which I'm going to be putting under the footwell, and then I've also got a VSR which is a voltage sensitive relay which I've got from a company called Wired Campers, and that's going to allow me to charge my battery and use all sorts of like appliances in the back of the van. So it's an absolute minefield of so many people doing different things on the internet, but I've come to the conclusion I'm going to be using a VSR, which is the cheaper and simpler way of setting up like the electrics and a leisure battery in a van. It's basically I'll show you in a minute, but it's a little box and it senses when the electric's coming through your alternator, and then it can charge it. I don't know the electrical terms, but basically it allows you to charge your battery up without draining your starter battery. The reason it might seem a bit confusing is because there's so many different types of vans. So a lot of modern vans like transporters, sprinters and that sort of thing, they've got a Euro 6, which basically means they've got like regenerative braking and start-stop, which means the alternator will be setting at a lower voltage. So it basically means they can't be using a VSR, but I've got a 2012 1.6 TDI. So it hasn't got start-stop. It is a Euro 5, but it means I'll be able to use a VSR. Right, so this is the passenger footwell, beginning with getting a Stanley knife and just cutting a big square out. Right, so that's the carpet gone at the bottom here. A lot of people just drill straight through here, and then you've got brake lines and all sorts of like things that can go wrong if you're drilling through the bottom. And then also that's how the plywood kit was put down to begin with, and it took me loads of time to like make sure it was waterproof again. That's the footwell all cleaned. We're giving it a quick little measure. It's 34 centimeters wide by 40 centimeters deep. That's how big we're going to cut the wood now, and then we can sort of see what we're playing with here. Right, so what we've got now, one bit of plywood here is going to be mounted onto the floor into the footwell, and then this bit of plywood on top is then going to be mounted onto that bottom bit of plywood there. So what we've done, we put the battery on the board here, and then we found an area where we can work in here. So this is what I'm talking about here. I put 3 of these nuts in, which basically tighten against themselves, and then it means I can put in and take out a bolt if I ever need to take it out. So basically how this is going to work, it's going to go underneath the footwell. It's going to be then Sikaflexed in, or whatever mounting solution I come up with, probably Sikaflex because I love it. Then from there I'll put the other board on top of it, push it down, let it dry. I'll then take the other board off, and then this will be like our bottom layer, which is going to take all the weight of the battery. Right, so we've got both boards of wood here. I'm going to mount this board here down, just in there. Got my Sikaflex. That's all mounted in. Got a battery sitting on top of it, and I'm just waiting for it to dry. Right, so I'm just getting it laid out and trying all different configurations, seeing how it's going to fit. That's the VSR, the fuse box, bus bar, fuses, and then also we screwed and glued 2 little like planks onto here, so then we can put the battery isolators on, one for the leisure battery, the main battery as well, if you never needed to change anything. So first off, we're going to start doing the wiring on the board because it's a bit more comfortable. You can sit down and do it. So first off, we're going to do the wiring from the first battery isolator into the VSR here. So it would come out of the starter battery, into the battery isolator, then into the VSR here. Right, so off camera, I've just been doing all the positives. So positive into the VSR, and then the VSR goes into the other battery isolator. Then the positive comes back out of the battery isolator into the fuse box, and then also comes out the other side of the isolator into another fuse. So now sorting out the bus bar, and then we'll be sorting out the negative to go from here into there, and then also this needs to go into there. It's getting dark, so that's pretty much just done for tonight. But I went round, put the earth into the bus bar, then also did the leisure battery to the bus bar, and then positive to the leisure battery. So pop the bonnet. Now I've come over to the starter battery, and I can see here the person before me has wired up the tow bar with like the electronics for that, which is what we're going to be using as a pulley to get the wire through the firewall, which is in there, down there. And if I bring you around here, took this bit of foam off. If you can see up there, just in there where that wire's poking now, you can see a grommet, which basically is the best way through the firewall, which will then mean I can get the wire to the back to the other battery. Right, so the grommet in the firewall is actually quite small for where the tow bar wire's gone through. So what we're going to do is get a small pair of scissors and basically snip it so it's a little bit bigger. That's what we've fashioned. It's literally just getting loads of electrical tape and then taping it up to the longer wire that we're going to use, and then we're just going to pull this through, and then it should go straight through the grommet. Alright, so that's where the wire's come through. Alright, so the wire's been fed through there, and then down this trim here, we've just used a bit of brute force, plied it up, and then the wire's come down here, which is into the passenger footwell. That's the wire coming there. Then it's literally just been run down this bit of trim here. It's a bit weird, so they're all connected along here, but once you get one up, the rest of them just lever up. So you've got to get this one out a little bit. That's connected to this, which is also connected to the B pillar here. So you literally just pull it up, and then it can sit nicely in there, and then the trim just goes back down on it. Alright, so I forgot to mention that we were using 5 meters of positive cable, and then we were given 3 meters of the negative cable, which basically gives you a bit of playing room just in case you mess it up. Next up, we're making about a foot of wire, and then gonna have 2 connectors on each end, and this is basically going to go from the battery into a fuse, which is going to be inside the engine bay. I had a bit of a nightmare. The positive terminal on the battery here, the bolt for some reason doesn't want to come off. We're going to just try and find a generic bolt, and then obviously disconnect the battery, and then saw it out, and then use another bolt, because that's the only other way we're going to get the fuse into it properly. But I've got some shoddy workmanship on the go, and then managed to Dremel it off. Alright, so crafted a fuse, put two positive cables back into it, and then we're just going to leave this in the engine bay. Might just tuck it down the back here, but that's the engine bay stuff done for now. So I see some different videos and things like that of making an earth. Some people use this bolt in there which holds the seats down, but apparently that's not a great earth, and you can get problems with the relay. But what we're thinking, if under here there's metal here which you can get behind as well, so drill through here and put a bolt on the other side, and then obviously we have the bus bar, which will be somewhere down there, so the rest of everything else will be earth down here, and then it only needs one earthing wire going up here. So that's where we're going to be using the earthing point. Got in there with the old Dremel and took all the paint off, and that should create quite a nice surface to make an earthing point. Alright, so I'm a week on from the last clip now, and what I've done, I've had to order 2 new terminals because the old terminals, there wasn't enough clearance to get them underneath the footwell. They would have both connected to the where the bulkhead would sit, and then they would have formed a circuit and short circuit it. So I've had to get 2 new terminals, and then I've also got some 2 straps to put the battery strap on. Now the battery's been pushed in right to the back of the battery strip where the battery stop would be, and put the straps over the top, ready for the all the electronics to go in. Right, so that's all of it in. Got the earth up there, and then this is the wire here from the starter battery, so we just need to wire these 2 in, and then should be ready to test it. Alright, so last thing to check is that it all works, and what we're looking for is a little red light on here to glow up when we turn the engine on. So turn the engine on. That's the light there, come on, I don't know if you can see. And then we'll wait a little bit, turn it off, and then it should turn off again. Alright, so then gone round there, turn the van off, and the LED has gone back off. So I'll give a quick little explanation of how a voltage sensitive relay works. I'm not particularly an electrician, so might not be 100% right, but in the simplest form, it works out when the engine's on, then that's when it'll start charging the leisure battery, and then pretty much you turn it off, and then it will stop charging. The LED will come on when the starter battery gets to 13.3 volts, and then it will turn back off when it gets to 12.8. This basically means it won't drain it, and it'll only charge this battery when it's at a high enough voltage, and it won't drain it. But this is like sort of the most basic leisure battery setup you can get. Like, you can get battery to battery chargers. I can only charge like an AGM battery or lead acid battery on a VSR. You can't charge a lithium battery, but I didn't really care. It's just going for a bit more of a basic setup anyway. But it all works, and I'm really happy, to be honest. First thing in the van that's worked without any problems whatsoever, so that's pretty great. But yeah, if you watched all of it, I really appreciate it. Like, thanks for watching. I'm not sure what I'll show you next. Like, as you can see, like, everything's pretty much up in the van already. I've tried to film bits and pieces, but kind of gets difficult and a bit boring, just me putting up light panels and things like that. So I might skip a bit forward and then see what comes next. But yeah, like I said, thanks for watching. Might be a bit of a break between this video and the next video because I've got to go away with work. Stick around for the next video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.